This is Peter Desmond Kelly introducing you to my new program called the Anti-Aging Modification Program, or AAMP for short. And this program is contained in my new book called You Don't Have to Grow Old. I got the inspiration for writing this book after reading about how many people are spending tons of money on all kinds of products to get that look of youth. I speak of one particular gentleman by the name of Brian Johnson, who is a multimillionaire tech engineer, and he's spending upwards of $2 million a year to somehow have that kind of look, the eternal youth look. And he's got a whole team of specialists, doctors, scientists who are giving him diagnoses, providing him with the latest technology, supplements, injections, you name it. So if you've got $2 million to throw away, by all means, go ahead. But with my anti-aging modification program, you won't need to do that. And the AMP has an assessment tool. It has a tool for you to mark your progress in the program. It's a 12-week program and divided up into 3 4-week phases. I'm going to show you now the actual program step by step and walk you through it from the beginning to the end. So let us now proceed to the various components of this program. We'll start off with the actual AMP assessment tool. What you do is you look at yourself over the last 7 days, and by using the frequency scale right here, you determined how much you've engaged in each of these different areas: diet, exercise, mental health, social, and lifestyle. And it gives examples. For example, in diet, are you following a healthy daily diet? And they ask you to say, okay, over the last 7 days, have I followed a healthy diet? If it's every day, you put 10. 5 or 6 days, 8. 3 or 4 days, 5. 1 or 2 days, 2. And 0 days, 0. And then you use exactly the same frequency scale to measure the following areas: exercise, okay, same as the above; mental health, same as the above; social, same as the above. But lifestyle, it's a bit different. It's reverse scored in the sense that you will be rewarded for abstaining from any bad habits. So let's take, for example, you're smoking, and you're smoking every day. You're only going to get a 0, right? But let's say you abstained from all of these different bad habits, you get a 10, okay? So once you've tabulated all the different scores, you put the number here on the right underscore, and you'll end up with different numbers that bring you down to a total score, and the total score will be something out of 50. You multiply that by 2 and you get a percentage score. And we'll go into more detail in a moment. But first, let's have a look at the areas. Each area, there's 5 areas that are known to supercharge eternal health. And each of these areas is distributed among different modules. So we're now going to go to the different modules to explain in more detail. Okay, so first up we have Module 1A. As you can see, I put diet and nutritional guidelines. It's divided in 2 modules, Module 1A and 1B, the second one being supplements. So we all know that nutrients and a good diet are definitely a necessary way to support eternal youth. And also, I've given you a list of different links for websites and articles that are chock full of information on eating well. You can also go to my book, which has a lot of information on diets, supercharged menu suggestions, go to Chapter 3, Nutritional Strategies for Longevity. Now, of course, there's exceptions. Not everyone is blessed with the ability to digest different foods properly, and some of you, like me, believe in taking supplements daily for extra fortification. Also, vegetarians and vegans have restricted diets, so supplementing is a good idea. Therefore, I've compiled a list in Module 1B in case you need convincing that supplements are a good idea for eternal youth. Are you aware that the nutritional value of foods, especially fruits and vegetables, has steadily declined over the years due to overuse of the same farmland and chemicals? In fact, it takes 12 carrots today to get the same nutritional value as 1 carrot 100 years ago. There's also people who simply cannot digest certain foods due to diseases such as IBS, or others who follow a restricted diet. Finally, there is the reality of day-to-day time pressures, difficult to follow a balanced diet. That is why supplementing with vitamins and mineral antioxidants and other natural herbs and spices is essential to keeping yourself strong and healthy. Here is a list of supplements you should consider for healthy aging. And an excellent article that talks about these supplements and how and why you should take them. You can go to this article here that's listed. Another excellent article listed here also recommends the following, some of which have already been mentioned above. Now, I don't recommend taking any of the above supplements without consulting your healthcare professional. I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a naturopath, but I have read up a lot about these things. So it's best to consult with your healthcare professional just to make sure nothing or none of these supplements are contraindicated concerning any of the medications that you might be taking. You should be forewarned, however, that most doctors have little or no training on the health benefits or proper dosing of supplements. And my previous doctor even went so far as to write in her report that I was overdosing on supplements. I'll let you be the judge. Look at Appendix D, my AAMP story, to read what I take regularly. I also encourage you to do your research. The field of supplements for longevity is constantly changing and being updated regularly. Now let's move on to the exercise module 2. After healthy nutrition, regular exercise is one of the most important things you can do to ensure eternal youth. What are the benefits of regular exercise? It offers many benefits for both your physical and mental well-being. Incorporating regular exercise into your routine can lead to a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling life. Finding an activity you enjoy, whether a brisk walk, a yoga session, or a high-intensity workout, can make it easier to stick with. But before starting any exercise program, it's a good idea to check with your doctor first to rule out any contraindications. In addition, if you're new to exercise, especially in a gym, engage the assistance of a trainer to get you on the right track. Here is a list of exercise activities organized under 4 categories: cardiovascular, strength training, stretching, and all-around workout. All of these contribute to a long health span. And then we have different exercise routines for different levels. Remember to listen to your body, no matter what routine you're doing, and adjust to the intensity and duration of your workouts as needed. Stay hydrated, maintain a balanced diet to support your fitness goals, and finally, to read about what I do to stay physically fit, check out Appendix D, my AAMP story. Next, we have Model 3, Mental Health. You may ask, why is mental health crucial for longevity? Because by prioritizing mental health, individuals can improve their overall health, enhance their quality of life, and potentially increase their lifespan. Nurturing mental health is crucial for overall well-being and eternal youth. Here's some activities that can help. Incorporating these activities into your daily routine can help nurture your mental health and improve your overall quality of life. When completing the AAMP assessment tool, Appendix A, do not rate twice an activity that has already been counted in another area. For example, if you've already recorded that you are a club member in Module 3, Mental Health, you should not count it again in Module 4, Social Activities. And if you want to read more about what I do to stay mentally fit, check out Appendix D, my AAMP story. Next, we have Module 4, Social Activities. Before launching into the list, let's define what we mean by social activities. For the purposes of the AAMP, we are talking about any activity in which you interact with one or more individuals outside of your regular business, academic, or domestic life. In other words, it has to bring you into the social domain. Examples of social activities include social media, e.g., Facebook, etc. Interest or hobby groups, restaurants, cafes, playing cards such as bridge, volunteering, activities with family and friends, dancing, museums, art galleries. This list is by no means complete. Many activities and events can be considered social, such as going to a hockey game or concert. Even playing golf or pickleball has a social element to them. Just make sure you don't count them twice if you've already put golf or pickleball under exercise in the AAMP assessment tool. Let's now move on to Module 5, Lifestyle. I've saved this one for last because even if you successfully engage in activities in all of the other areas, engaging in any bad habits listed below can negatively impact your total AAMP assessment score and ultimately your health. That is why you'll notice that on the frequency scale of the AAMP assessment tool, lifestyle is reverse scored so that abstention, not engagement, is scored higher. So now that we've finished the 5 modules, we're now going to move on to the next section, which will actually put into action the different measures, applying the different modules, and coming up with some real numbers and statistics that you can actually use to measure your progress. Okay then, so what I have here is the AAMP assessment tool. You may remember I had that at the beginning of the presentation, and it was not yet completed. What I have here is an example using Mary's data. She filled this in June 16th. And what we have is she's looked again. What you do to refresh your memory is you rate your engagement in each area over the past 7 days by choosing a number from the frequency scale here and calculate total score by adding up all 5 areas. And you come down here, and to obtain the percentage score, multiply total score by 2, and you get, in this case, 60%. So what we have first, before doing any calculations, we want to look at Mary's health status down here at the bottom of the page. And she chose medium. And these scales are based on your discretion. As you know, the first thing that is done when you go to a doctor's office is you have the nurse or technician taking your blood pressure and your weight. And so that's how this is calculated. It's according to blood pressure and readings and weight. I'm not going to go into detail actually how you derive it. That details can be found in Chapter 10, Exercise, Creating Your Personalized AAMP, in my book. Okay, so what we have here is for Mary, after she looked at her week, the last 7 days, she made these calculations. For diet, she noticed that she engaged in a healthy diet only 1 or 2 days, and so she gets a number of 2. In module number 2, exercise, engaged in one or more of the following activities for at least 30 minutes, she gave herself a 5, meaning that she was exercising 3 or 4 days in the past 7 days. Module 3, mental health. You have to have one or more of the following or any of the others listed in Module 3. In her case, she gave herself a 5 again. In Module 4, social, one or more of the following: interacting with friends, family, social media clubs, other social activities, all listed in Module 4. She gave herself a higher score of 8, which signifies that she engaged in social activities 5 or 6 days over the last 7 days. And finally, in Module 5, lifestyle, have you engaged in one or more of the following bad habits? And she gave herself a 10. Now, don't forget that in the lifestyle module, it's reverse scored. So in other words, you give yourself a higher score when you've abstained. In her case, she abstained from bad habits all 7 days, so she gave herself a 10. Let's now do an analysis of these scores. The first thing you want to do is select your weakest area score. And in Mary's case, she found that her diet was the weakest score with a 2, meaning only 1 or 2 days she was able to follow a healthy daily diet. But in exercise, she got a 5. Mental health, same thing, 5. Social, a little higher, 8. And lifestyle, the highest you can get. So she got a 10. You add up all those scores and you come to a total score of 30. Multiply by 2, you get the percentage of 60. So 60%. And let's remember that if you want to have the ideal eternal youth score for the AMP, it's 74 to 80% or higher. Okay? So that's what you're reaching for. And what we put here was medium for health status. And at the end, you want to mark in goals. For Mary, she said she wants to increase diet score and total score. So if she increases her diet score, maintaining all the other scores or higher, she's going to get a higher total score. Appendix B, the AMP hypnosis recordings. And depending on where you are on your program, in the 12-week program, you're going to select one of 3 recordings. The first recording you're going to listen to right after you've done your initial assessment, and every day for the next 4 weeks during the program. The second hypnosis recording you will listen to during the next 4 weeks. And the same thing with recording 3, the final 4 weeks. And what's important about hypnosis is that it can help to counteract negative beliefs and conditioning that we've developed over the years. For example, since childhood, we've been conditioned to believe that everyone grows old and that it is just a natural part of life. But what if I told you that a branch of science suggests that longevity is a choice? And if we learn how to switch certain beliefs into positive anti-aging ones, we set in motion a whole series of neurological, biological, and behavioral events that regenerate our cells like new again. The AMP hypnosis recordings are designed to remove long-standing negative beliefs about aging and declining health and replace them with vibrant health span beliefs filled with youth and vitality. It contains 3 hypnosis recordings, each meant to be listened to during each program phase. Please listen to them chronologically to reach the desired outcome for each phase. Before listening to any hypnosis recording, please abide by the following guidelines. 1. Never listen to a hypnosis recording while driving a car or operating equipment that requires alertness. Number 2. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed for an hour. Number 3. Sit in a comfortable chair or recliner and have a blanket nearby to keep you warm. Number 4. Wear loose and comfortable clothes. And 5. Wear headphones or earphones to benefit fully from the soundtrack and hypnotic experience. Please note, the first hypnosis recording is to be listened to during the day or evening in a comfortable chair or recliner, while recordings 2 and 3 are to be listened to at bedtime when you're ready to sleep. Don't worry if you fall asleep. Your subconscious will register the positive affirmations at the required level while sleeping. Use earphones for the most comfort. Enjoy. Congratulations, you've just completed the initial assessment of the anti-aging modification program, and you've no doubt listened also to the hypnosis number 1, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying it. Just don't forget to play it every day for the next 4 weeks. And next up, we have the recording portion of the assessment tool where you have the opportunity to keep a record of your progress. Okay, so what you'll notice is you have, first up, the AAMP personalized progress chart. You put in your name, date. I'd like you to put in the first line here next to summary, your assessment total score, ATS, and percentage. As well, the weakest area, which was, if you remember in the example for Mary, diet. And the weakest score for her was 2. Okay, so that's the first thing you do. There you go. And in her case, it was a 30 and 60%. Diet, weakest score, 2. And to transfer these numbers down here, the ATS here, after the summary after 4 weeks, and the WAS is 2, the weakest score. The weakest score was 2. Okay, so the first thing you want to do are those 2 things. Then we go on to the actual recording week to week. So at first, of course, it's blank, but you want to then say, okay, I'm going to take the scores that I obtained from each of these different areas, diet, exercise, mental health, social, lifestyle, and I'm going to put in the scores in week 1. So in week 1, let's say Mary is putting them down after 1 week. Her scores were 5, 8, 8, 8, 10, multiplied by 2, and you got a 78%. She did very well in her first week. And that's often the case because people have more enthusiasm when they first start a program, and they oftentimes do really great in the first week. But what also often happens is that there's a bit of a dip or drop in week 2, which is what you see here with Mary. She had a total score of 34 times 2, 68% only. But in week 3, it went up a little bit, 72%. Week 4, it went down again. But the most important thing is the total score. So you total up all the 4 weeks and you come to this column here, the total scores for each of the areas after 4 weeks. And you come down here and you multiply by 0.25 equals 35.5 times 2, it equals to 71%, right? And if you do it this way, you add each of the different weeks, you get an average. So for diet, you've got 26 divided by the 4 weeks, it's 6.5. And then you add each area and you come down and you have again 35.5 times 2, 71%. You notice these two match. It's one of the ways to do a validity check is you make sure that these two scores match. And let's not forget that what you're aiming for is to increase your score. Okay, so we're going to see how, even though the scores were not all high week after week, the average score is what we really want to look at. We're going to see when you take the total average score, which is 35.5, and you transfer it over here at the bottom under summary after 4 weeks, and we take the weakest area score, which was 6.5, the average after 4 weeks, and you put it under here at, okay, now we're going to see the difference score. You take 35.5 minus 30, which was the original score. The average total score was 30. And you get a different score of 5.5. And then we look at the weakest score. The average after 4 weeks was 6.5 minus the initial score, which was 2, and you end up with 4.5, different score. So that's good because they're both in the plus, and it tells you that both had a different score in the plus range. Although here they don't look much difference, you'll see though in the percentage that there's a big difference. The difference in the total score between the initial assessment and the average score after 4 weeks was 18.33%. But then we look at the weakest area average score, which had a different score of 4.5. The percentage difference was 225%. Huge improvement. So it's important to also look at all your scores. You do an analysis of all the different scores, and what you'll end up with is a goal where you say, okay, what I notice here is I need to increase exercise in mental health. Okay, because exercise was only 5.75, same thing with mental health. And that's it as far as the AAMP personalized progress chart. You now have another 4 weeks to go. You then also, before you start the 4 weeks, you listen to the second hypnosis recording. Okay, and I wish you all the best, and we'll talk again later. Bye for now.